Your brain becomes powerful the moment you learn how to control where it goes. Most people can't focus today, not because they're lazy, but because their mind is always on something else. They sit down to work and 5 minutes later they're lost in scrolling, checking messages or jumping between tasks. Their brain never gets still, and the truth is, if you don't take charge of your mind, it will keep controlling you. Right now, more than ever, your focus decides your results. YouTube is changing, the world is changing, and people who can stay focused, even for a few solid minutes, are moving ahead fast. This video is going to help you do that. You're about to learn how to hack your brain using simple, powerful steps that actually work. Not theory, not hype, real ways to control your thoughts, block out distractions, and stay locked in. Watch this to the end and start winning back your focus starting today. Chapter 1. Remove useless stuff from your mind right now. You know, one of the biggest reasons people can't focus is because their mind is already full. Not full of what matters, not full of goals, not full of clear direction. No, it's full of things that don't move them forward, things that don't belong. Worry about what someone said 5 years ago. Regret about a bad decision that can't be changed. Doubt that was picked up from someone who gave up on themselves a long time ago. And distractions. Constant distractions that steal attention every hour, every minute, every second. If you want to focus instantly, start here. Remove the useless stuff from your mind right now. Not tomorrow, not next week, now. Because as long as your mind is busy carrying things that don't serve your purpose, it will not have the energy, the space, or the clarity to focus on what really matters. Think about it like this. When you walk into a room and it's full of noise, scattered papers, clothes on the floor, and old food sitting out, do you feel calm? Do you feel ready to sit down and do your best work? Of course not. You feel stressed, you feel crowded. That's exactly how your brain feels when it's filled with unnecessary thoughts. Clutter creates chaos, and you can't have clarity with chaos in the way. Now, most people never stop to question what they allow into their mind. They just consume. All day. Social media posts, people's opinions, negative news, gossip, entertainment, and nonsense. And that pile grows. And they wonder why they can't focus. Why they start something and can't finish it, why they feel stuck even though they're busy. It's not because they don't have the ability, it's because their mental space is being hijacked, used up, wasted. You have to treat your mind like it matters, like it's a place of value. You wouldn't fill your home with trash and never clean it. You wouldn't keep the TV on 24 hours a day and expect to sleep. But that's how most people treat their brain. No control over what goes in. No filter. No cleanup. You want real focus? Then choose what doesn't belong in your mind and throw it out. That thought that tells you you're not good enough, it goes. That voice that keeps reminding you of your past failures, it goes. That fear of what other people think of you, gone. If it doesn't help you grow, if it doesn't build strength, if it doesn't push you closer to your goal, it does not belong, and you have the power to remove it. Here's After Your Footsteps on the 371st day of May 2002. Don't wait for someone to give you permission. Don't wait until everything feels perfect. Start now. Close your eyes. Take a breath and ask yourself, what am I thinking about that doesn't matter? Identify it. Be honest. Then strip it out. Cut the cord. Because holding on to useless thoughts is a form of self-sabotage. You are choosing to keep what hurts you, and that has to end. Now, removing useless thoughts doesn't mean your mind will be empty. It means your mind will finally have room for the good stuff, for clarity, for drive, for peace. You don't need more energy, you need less distraction. You don't need more motivation, you need less mental noise. And the best part is, you're in charge of this. No one else can do this for you. But you also don't need anyone else to start. You can make that shift right here, today. Start with your environment. What are you listening to? Who are you around? What are you watching every day? If any of those things leave you feeling drained, anxious, or mentally scattered, it's time to pull the plug. Don't argue with it. Don't justify it. If it's not helping, it's hurting. Clear it out. Don't let the world dump garbage into your brain. Then take 5 minutes every morning, just 5, to sit in silence and look at your thoughts. What keeps coming up? What's repeating itself every day? If it's fear, if it's worry, if it's comparison, challenge it. Say no. You are not required to keep any thought that weakens you. This is where real focus begins. It's not about forcing yourself to concentrate harder. It's about removing the blocks that are already in the way. You see, your brain knows how to focus. You were born with that power. But life, distractions, and unchecked thinking buried it. So your job now is to uncover it. Remove what was never meant to stay. The clearer your mind becomes, the easier it gets to focus. And when focus becomes easy, progress becomes automatic. You won't have to push yourself so hard because your attention will be sharp, your purpose will be real, and your decisions will be clean. That's what focus does. It gives you freedom, and it starts with the courage to remove the noise. This is a choice. It's not about your past. It's not about your intelligence. It's not about how busy you are. It's about deciding that your peace matters more than your distractions, that your goals matter more than your excuses, that your life is worth living with full clarity. So from this moment on, any time your mind starts spinning with pointless thoughts, any time you catch yourself replaying a story that weakens you, pause, say to yourself, "This doesn't belong here," and replace it. Replace it with what you want to create, with what you're working toward, with what matters to your future. Focus is not something you wait to feel. It's something you build. It's something you protect. It's something you fight for every single day. And it starts by clearing the space. Remove what's useless now. Your future deserves a focused mind, and you are capable of giving it that, starting today. Chapter 2. Give full attention to what you're doing today. If you want to change your life, learn how to give full attention to what you're doing today. Not tomorrow, not someday, today. Because this day is all you have. Not in theory, but in truth. You can't go back to yesterday, and tomorrow hasn't even happened yet. But right now, it's real, and most people waste it. Not because they're lazy, but because their attention is somewhere else. Their hands are here, but their mind is scattered. Their body shows up, but their focus doesn't. What makes the difference between someone who moves forward and someone who stays stuck? It's not always talent, it's not always resources, it's attention, focused energy on the task in front of them. They give what they're doing all they've got. They don't rush to the next thing. They don't split their mind in 5 directions. They're present. And that presence, that full attention, is what unlocks results. There are people with big dreams but no results. And there are people with small resources who produce big outcomes. Why? Because one person keeps thinking about everything at once and does nothing well. The other gives all their energy to what they're doing right now. And that makes the difference. If you're working, work. Don't scroll. Don't daydream. Don't drift off. Be there. Put your whole mind in it. If you're talking with someone, listen. Really listen. Don't think about your reply. Don't look at your phone. Don't worry about how you're being seen. Focus on the person in front of you. You don't need more hours in the day. You need to give your best to the hour you're already in. When you split your attention, you weaken your results. You feel frustrated, you feel scattered, because deep down you know you're not giving everything you could. And that feeling starts to eat away at you. It builds stress, it lowers confidence, because every time you drift, every time you only half show up, your mind notices. And over time, you start believing that you can't concentrate, that you're the kind of person who can't finish things. But it's not true. You've just never trained your attention. And that's the key. Focus is not a gift. It's not something you're born with or without. It's a skill, one you can build, one you can train. And it starts by doing one thing fully. Not perfectly, just fully. That means no jumping between tabs, no bouncing from task to task, no pretending to multitask, just one thing. And when your mind starts to wander, which it will, you gently bring it back, over and over. That's how you build focus. Not by reading about it, not by wishing for it, but by practicing it in your day. Most people don't even realize how often they lose focus. They sit down to work, then check their messages. They start something important, then get distracted by a notification. And they tell themselves they'll get back to it in a second. But every switch costs time. Every break in focus resets the mind. And by the end of the day, they've done a lot, but finished nothing. You have to be ruthless with your attention. Not because the world is bad, but because it's loud. Everything is designed to steal your focus, but no one can take it unless you give it. That's your power. You can take your focus back. You can decide that what you're doing right now matters, enough to give it all you've got. Even small things deserve full attention. When you eat, taste your food. When you read, hear the words in your mind. When you walk, feel the ground under your feet. Don't live on autopilot. Don't just go through the motions. The more present you are, the more power you bring to your actions, and that power compounds. It adds up. People talk about momentum like it's magic. It's not. It's just the result of doing small things with full focus, one clear action at a time. And before you know it, you feel stronger. You make faster decisions. You produce better work. Why? Because you're there, all the way. Not half here and half somewhere else, but grounded in what you're doing. The world moves fast. People rush through their days. But speed without focus leads to burnout. You don't need to do everything fast. You need to do things with attention, with care. With your full mind. That's where the edge is. That's how you stand out. That's how you grow. If you train yourself to be here, where your hands are, you'll start to feel peace. Real peace. Not just relaxation, but clarity. Because when your focus is clean, your thoughts are sharper. You're not juggling. You're not chasing. You're building something real. One focused action at a time. Look around at your life, the things that are still unfinished, the habits you started and dropped, the goals you keep postponing. Don't judge yourself, but do take responsibility. And start now. Pick one thing that matters. Block everything else and give it all your attention. Not for hours. Start with 10 minutes, just 10, then build from there. You'll be surprised at how much you can get done when your focus is pure. It's not about being perfect. It's about being fully engaged. That's what changes your energy. That's what builds your confidence. Because nothing feels better than knowing you showed up and gave it your best. This moment is the only moment you can control. So give it the respect it deserves. Show up for it. Don't just go through the day. Be in the day. Let your attention become your tool. Sharpen it, protect it, use it. Because once you master that, you'll realize you don't need more time, you just need more presence. And presence starts with giving full attention to what you're doing right now. You don't need a perfect plan, you need full focus on what's already in front of you. Make the decision to be all in, with your work, with your goals, with your time. Give everything you touch the best of you. That's where change begins. That's where your results live. Right here, right now. Give full attention to what you're doing today, and you'll start building a life you're proud of. One focused day at a time. Chapter 3. Decide fast what matters and forget the rest. Every day you're faced with choices. Some are small, some are big, but most people spend too much time thinking about everything all at once, and it slows them down, it wears them out. It drains their energy before they've even taken their first real step. The reason many people don't make progress is not because they don't care, it's because they don't decide. They wait, they hesitate, they analyze, they carry thoughts around for hours, days, sometimes even years, trying to make the perfect decision. But the truth is, nothing moves until you do. And you don't get better by thinking endlessly. You get better by choosing what matters and dropping what doesn't. When you delay decisions, you build mental clutter. And mental clutter becomes emotional stress. You keep things in your mind that no longer deserve space. And instead of moving forward, you carry a weight that slows everything down. That's why speed matters. Not speed in doing everything, but speed in deciding what actually matters. Because the faster you choose your priorities, the faster you can give them your full attention. A lot of people confuse being busy with being productive. They jump from one thing to another, chasing urgency, reacting to everything, never stopping to ask, is this really important? They do what's loud, they do what others expect, but they forget to ask themselves what really moves their life forward. The truth is, most of what demands your attention doesn't actually deserve it. And when you live your day answering everything that shows up, you leave your real goals waiting on the side. You have to train your mind to sort quickly. You don't need 100 options. You don't need to keep everything on the table. You need to say yes to what matters and drop the rest. Because energy is limited, time is limited, and every time you spend 5 minutes on something unimportant, you've stolen 5 minutes from something that truly matters. Deciding fast doesn't mean being careless. It means being clear. It means building the habit of knowing what you want and not wasting time on what doesn't line up. You don't need to be perfect, you just need to be honest. Ask yourself, does this task, this person, this problem support the life I want to build? If the answer is no, move on. Don't overthink it. Don't argue with it. Just move. Clarity creates power. The more time you spend stuck in decisions, the less time you have to take real action. Every goal, every breakthrough, every major change in life starts with a decision. But not just any decision. A decision that was made with full responsibility and followed with action. The quicker you develop this habit, the stronger you get. You begin to trust yourself more. You start moving faster, and the world responds to your certainty. You see, indecision is not neutral. It steals your energy. It steals your confidence. Every time you hold on to something because you're afraid of letting it go, you weaken your ability to focus. You cannot build a strong future by holding on to everything. You have to let go of the things that no longer help you grow. And it doesn't have to be complicated. You can start by looking at your daily life, your routines, your tasks, your habits. If something feels like it's taking your energy but giving nothing back, cut it. If a decision has been on your mind for weeks and it's not helping you move forward, make it. Waiting around for the perfect answer is just another way of staying stuck. Decide fast. That's how you build momentum. That's how you create space for what actually matters, because every decision delayed is energy trapped. And the moment you make a clear choice, you free that energy. You give your mind something solid to work with. Think about how much time you've spent going back and forth on something small. Maybe you thought about starting something new, but you were unsure. Maybe you've been holding on to something that's already over. Maybe you've been staying connected to people who no longer fit your future. Every one of those situations pulls from your mental energy, and until you make a choice, it will keep taking from you. This is why the most focused people in the world are also the most decisive. They don't waste time on things that don't align. They've trained themselves to move quickly. They know that the quicker they decide, the quicker they can act. And the more they act, the more progress they make. That's the cycle of growth. You need to be strong enough to choose. That's what leadership is. That's what personal growth is. It's not about always knowing the answer, it's about trusting that you'll learn as you go. Every great success began with someone making a decision without having all the information. They didn't wait for it to feel perfect. They just got started. And that's what you need to do. Make your decisions based on who you want to become, not based on fear. If it makes you stronger, choose it. If it pulls you toward your goal, take it. If it distracts you or holds you back, drop it. That's how you get clear. That's how you simplify your path. And that's how you build the mental strength to focus on what really counts. Now, this takes practice. At first, you might feel nervous. You might wonder if you're making the right call. That's normal. But over time, it gets easier. You stop doubting. You stop second-guessing. You move with direction. You start trusting yourself again. And that confidence you build, it carries into every area of your life. One of the best ways to train this skill is to set boundaries with yourself. Give yourself a time limit when you're making a decision. Don't give it hours, give it minutes. Ask the question, check your values, look at your priorities, and then decide. If you need to adjust later, you can, but don't let small decisions hold your entire life hostage. That's a trap too many people fall into. You'll find that the faster you choose what matters, the more time and energy you have for deep work, strong relationships, and clear goals. You start showing up better, you think better, you act better, and people notice. Because clarity is magnetic. People are drawn to those who know what they want. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to have it all figured out. But you do need to get serious about where you're going. Life is not a dress rehearsal. This is your time. This is your shot. You can't afford to keep hesitating. Make a clear decision, follow through, and watch what happens when all your energy is finally going in one direction. You already know what needs to go. You already know what matters. The only thing left is to act, decide fast, forget the rest, and move with purpose. That's how you build focus. That's how you build strength. That's how you build a life worth living. Chapter 4. Practice focusing for 5 minutes without looking around. If you want to train your brain to focus, start small. Not with hours of effort, not with a long list of tasks. Start with 5 minutes. Just 5 minutes of full, quiet, undivided attention. That's how you build control. That's how you train your mind to obey. You don't need a perfect routine. You need 5 honest minutes where you sit with one task and keep your eyes on it, your mind on it, and your energy in it. No glancing around, no reaching for your phone, no switching, just pure focus. Most people have never done that. They think they have. But if you put a timer on and told them to focus for 5 minutes straight without looking up, checking a message, thinking about something else, or adjusting their seat, they'd struggle. And that's exactly why this small habit is powerful, because it reveals the truth. It shows you where you are, and more importantly, it gives you a chance to grow from there. The modern world has made it easy to lose attention. It's normal now to bounce from one screen to the next, from one thought to another. People don't even finish a full sentence before their mind is already somewhere else. And the scary part is, they don't notice. It feels normal to be distracted, but just because it feels normal doesn't mean it's healthy. Focus is not about forcing yourself to sit still. It's about choosing to keep your mind on one thing when everything else is begging for your attention. And that choice gets easier the more you practice it. That's why 5 minutes matters, because you're building something. You're building the strength to hold your attention, even when the world tries to break it. You don't need special tools to begin. You don't need music or an app. Just pick something simple, something you want to give your mind to, a task, a thought, a piece of writing, a quiet moment. Sit with it. Keep your eyes where they are. Keep your thoughts on what you're doing. And when your mind starts to drift, and it will, gently pull it back. Not with anger, not with pressure, just with presence. That's the training. That's where the power is. Every time you bring your mind back, you're growing. Every time you resist the urge to look around, you're winning. You may not see it right away, but deep inside something is shifting. You're getting stronger. Your ability to stay present is becoming sharper. Your mind is learning discipline. And that discipline carries into everything. 5 minutes of true focus can be worth more than an hour of scattered effort. Because when your attention is whole, your work becomes better, your thoughts become clearer, your decisions become faster. You begin to see through the noise. You begin to feel calm even in the middle of pressure. That's the reward for practicing focus. At first, it might be uncomfortable. Your mind might resist. You might feel restless. You might want to stop. That's fine. That's part of the process. Growth never feels smooth in the beginning. But don't give up. Stay with it. Set a timer if you need to. Watch those 5 minutes stretch. Notice how often you want to shift. And keep pulling yourself back. This is not about perfection. It's about progress. If you mess up, you start again. If you lose your focus, you bring it back. That's where the transformation is. Not in avoiding distraction, but in overcoming it. And every time you overcome it, even for a second, you're becoming someone new, someone stronger, someone more grounded, someone who doesn't just react to the world, but controls their mind inside it. Don't wait for the perfect time to start. Don't wait until you feel ready. Start today, wherever you are. Give your full focus to one simple thing for 5 minutes. That's your training. That's your practice. And as you get better at it, stretch the time. Try 10 minutes, then 15. But always come back to the foundation. 5 full minutes of real presence. It doesn't matter what others are doing. You don't need to match someone else's pace. What matters is that you're honest with yourself, that you're willing to admit where your focus slips, and that you're ready to take back control. You don't need to fight the world. You just need to train your attention, quietly, daily, consistently. And don't think this is just about work. It's not. It's about everything. Your relationships, your goals, your inner peace. When you train your focus, you show up better in all areas of life. You stop half listening to people you care about. You stop rushing through your goals without care. You start being present, fully there, fully engaged. Focus is not a gift some people have and others don't. It's a choice, a habit, a skill, and it starts with you, with 5 quiet minutes, where you prove to yourself that you are in control of your attention, that you can hold your mind steady, that you can finish what you start. There's something powerful about seeing yourself follow through, even if it's just 5 minutes. It builds belief, it builds identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone who can't stay focused, and you start seeing yourself as someone who can. That small shift changes how you approach everything. So tomorrow morning, or tonight, or in the middle of your day, take those 5 minutes. Not for the world, not to prove anything, just for you, for your mind, for your growth. Sit down, pick one thing, and hold your focus. Feel the urge to look around, but don't. Feel the pull to grab your phone, but don't. Just stay with it. Train your mind like it matters, because it does. You'll be surprised how much clarity comes from that small habit. You'll begin to feel lighter, less scattered, more confident, not because the world changed, but because you did. You decided to take your focus seriously, and that decision builds a kind of strength that lasts. Start now. Start small, but start. 5 minutes a day of real focus can shift your life, and it's all within your control. Chapter 5. Stop switching tasks and stay with one thing. One of the biggest reasons people never reach their full potential is because they can't stay with one thing long enough to see it through. They start something, then they jump. They move from task to task, from idea to idea, hoping to feel productive, but they never get deep enough to create real results. That kind of behavior feels active, but it's empty. It feels like work, but it leads to nothing solid. The truth is, every time you switch tasks, you lose energy, you lose clarity, and you lose time that can't be recovered. You have to understand something simple but powerful. Your brain works best when it has direction. It wants to follow through, it wants to lock in. But when you keep shifting gears, your brain never gets a chance to focus. It never builds momentum, and without momentum, progress dies early. Every time you stop and start something new, you're resetting your mental rhythm. It's like digging holes in 10 different places and wondering why you never strike gold. You have to teach yourself to stay with one thing, not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. Nothing strong gets built with scattered energy. You can't solve 5 problems at once and expect to do any of them well. Focused attention leads to strong execution, but that focus only shows up when you commit to one thing at a time. That's when your mind can get deep. That's when you start producing work that matters. That's when you feel connected to what you're doing, not just busy but deeply involved. Most people don't realize how much task switching is costing them. It's not just a few seconds here and there, it's mental residue. You think you're shifting quickly, but your mind carries the last task with you. It takes time to fully engage in a new direction, and the more often you jump, the more fragmented your attention becomes. Eventually, you stop feeling sharp, you stop feeling organized, you become reactive instead of intentional. That's what kills progress, not lack of skill, but lack of focus. You don't need to do more, you need to do what you're doing with full attention. Give it your best while you're in it, and when it's done, then move on. The power is not in multitasking, the power is in finishing, the power is in diving deep, not skimming over everything. When you stay with one thing, you allow yourself to bring your full energy to the task. You get into a state where your actions align with your thoughts. That's when you get your best work done. You've probably felt it before. That moment when you lose track of time because you're so absorbed in what you're doing. That state where you feel like you're locked in. That's not luck. That's not random. That's what happens when you stop bouncing from one thing to another and just stay with the one thing that's in front of you. You're not chasing, you're not reacting, you're building. Staying with one thing also builds mental discipline. It trains your ability to resist the pull of distractions. Every time you stay focused, even when it's boring or difficult, you're strengthening a part of yourself that very few people ever develop. That kind of strength shows up everywhere, in your confidence, in your patience, in your ability to stay calm under pressure, because you've built the habit of sticking with what matters instead of chasing the next shiny thing. Now, this isn't about working non-stop, it's about being intentional. When you work, work. When you rest, rest. Don't mix the two. Don't pretend to work while checking your messages. Don't try to relax while worrying about unfinished tasks. Give everything a clear space, and during that time, be all in. If you're writing, write. If you're having a conversation, be fully present. If you're solving a problem, go deep, finish it, or give it your best effort before moving on. Most distractions today are self-created. No one forces you to check your phone 10 times an hour. No one makes you open 5 browser tabs. These habits are learned, which means they can be unlearned. And the first step is simple. Notice when you're about to switch. Pause. Ask yourself if what you're doing now is finished, or if you're just avoiding discomfort. Be honest with yourself. Most of the time, switching tasks is just a way of escaping effort. It's easier to start something new than to stick with what feels hard. But growth happens in the staying. Strength is built in the follow-through. If you train yourself to remain with one thing, even for 15 or 20 focused minutes, you'll get better, faster results than someone who switches 100 times and finishes nothing. The people who rise are not always the most talented. They're the ones who do the work without quitting halfway. They're the ones who keep their eyes on the task until it's done. Start small. Pick one task each day and make a promise to see it through. Don't let yourself stop until it's complete or until you've given it your full attention. Not distracted, not halfway, fully there. Over time, this becomes your normal, and as you build that focus muscle, you'll start seeing changes in how you feel. You'll be less tired, less scattered, more proud of what you're doing, and don't worry about the speed. It's not about doing everything fast, it's about doing it well. When you slow down and stay with one thing, you bring more care to your work. You notice details, you make better decisions, you finish with confidence instead of uncertainty. That's what leads to better results. And more than that, it leads to a better life. You owe it to yourself to develop this habit, not just for your goals, but for your peace of mind. Constantly switching tasks leads to mental chaos. You always feel behind, you always feel rushed. But when you stay with one thing, your mind calms down, you begin to feel control. You begin to enjoy what you're doing. Even the hard parts feel more manageable because you're not stretched in 10 directions at once. This is a discipline that pays off in every area. Whether you're building a career, writing a book, growing a business, or trying to improve yourself, it all comes back to focus. And the kind of focus that gets real results only comes when you learn to stop switching tasks, stick with the thing that matters, give it the time and respect it deserves. And trust that you'll go farther doing one thing well than 100 things halfway. You already have what it takes. The skill is in you. The discipline is within reach. All you have to do is decide. Decide to stay present. Decide to go deeper. Decide to finish. That's how you move forward. That's how you build something strong. One task, one step, one focused moment at a time. Stay with it. You'll thank yourself later. Chapter 6. Take full control of where your energy goes. Every person wakes up with a certain amount of energy. It's not endless, it's not automatic, it's a limited reserve. What you do with that energy decides how your day will go. Where you place your energy decides what you accomplish, how you feel, and whether or not you move closer to the life you want. Most people don't lose because they're weak or unmotivated. They lose because they waste their energy on things that don't matter, things that drain them, things that have no return. And over time, those small choices create a tired mind, a tired body, and a tired life. Taking control of your energy is not about doing more, it's about using what you have with intention. Most people say yes too quickly. They react to everything. They carry other people's problems. They chase things that aren't aligned with their purpose. And at the end of the day, they wonder why they're exhausted, discouraged, and behind. It's not about time, it's about direction. It's not how long you work, it's how wisely you focus your energy. When your energy is scattered, your results will always be small. You can be busy all day and still feel like nothing changed. That's because effort without purpose is noise. You can push hard, but if your energy is going in the wrong direction, you'll end up frustrated. Progress only happens when energy is channeled clearly. You have to take full ownership of where your energy goes, or it will be taken from you without warning. You get to choose where your energy flows. That means you get to say what's worth it. You get to decide who you give your time to. You get to protect your mental space. And that starts by becoming aware of where your energy is leaking. Pay attention to what leaves you drained. Pay attention to the people, the habits, the thoughts that cost you more than they give you. Those are the places you need to shift. Not because you're weak, but because you're responsible. You are responsible for how you show up. You are responsible for how strong your energy feels. You can't control everything, but you can control what you allow in your space. And when you start managing your energy with care, your life begins to respond. Your thoughts become clearer. Your work becomes better. Your stress begins to drop, because you're no longer giving your power away. Start with the basics. Look at your routine. What's draining you that doesn't need to be there? What habits have you picked up that take energy but offer no value? What conversations leave you heavier instead of lighter? The answers are already around you. You don't need a complete life overhaul. You need to redirect your energy to things that build you, things that fuel you, things that make your future stronger. Energy doesn't lie. You know when something feels right. You know when you're giving too much to things that leave you stuck. And if you ignore that truth, you'll stay in a loop of tired mornings and restless nights. But the moment you start honoring your energy, you'll begin to move different. You'll start saying no faster. You'll stop chasing things that don't serve you. You'll let go of the pressure to please everyone and start choosing what actually gives you life. And this isn't about being selfish. It's about being wise. You cannot help others if you're running on empty. You cannot give your best if your energy is always scattered. You serve better when you're centered. You lead better when you're clear. That's what makes the difference between people who burn out and people who rise. One is constantly reacting. The other protects their energy like it matters, because it does. Your energy is not just physical, it's emotional, it's mental, and it needs to be managed on all levels. That means setting boundaries. That means knowing when to walk away. That means being okay with disappointing others if it protects your peace. Because if you're always giving and never refilling, you'll end up with nothing left for yourself, and you can't build a meaningful life from depletion. Take a step back and ask yourself, where has my energy gone today? Look at it without judgment. Just be honest. Was it spent on things that moved you forward? Was it used on tasks that support your values? Or was it wasted on distractions, overthinking, or worrying about things outside your control? Your answers will tell you where to start. And once you know, shift it. No need to wait. Redirect your energy into things that matter, into your growth, into your health, into your goals, into the people who make you better. That decision alone begins to reshape your day, and when you do it consistently, it reshapes your future. There will always be demands on your energy, always someone who wants your time, always something that tries to pull you away from what matters. But you get to choose. You get to say no. You get to draw the line. Not out of anger, but out of purpose. Because when you stop giving your energy to the wrong things, you create room for the right things to grow. And that growth builds confidence. You start trusting your choices more. You start noticing how much better your days feel when your energy is guarded. You stop feeling guilty for resting. You stop feeling obligated to say yes to everything. Because now you're clear. You've taken responsibility. You've taken ownership. That's what it means to live with focus. Not just chasing goals, but managing your inner world, knowing that how you feel is shaped by what you allow, and being willing to protect that space so you can show up stronger every single day. You don't need more motivation. You don't need more pressure. You need energy that's directed with care, energy that builds instead of breaks, and that begins with your decisions. Every choice is an investment. Ask yourself, is this worth my energy? If the answer is no, don't explain it. Just move on. Not everything needs your attention. Not everything deserves a response. Protect your energy like it's valuable, because it is. You can change everything about your day by changing where your energy goes. Not in a year, not in a month. Today, stop giving energy to what weakens you. Start placing it where growth happens. You'll feel better, you'll think better, and you'll start living with a power that doesn't fade halfway through the day. That's how you take control. That's how you build strength. And that's how you create a life you actually enjoy living. Chapter 7. Break your day into clear time blocks that work. Most people wake up and go through their day without a plan. They respond to whatever comes up. They jump into work, check their phone, answer messages, and try to handle everything at once. By the end of the day, they're drained, frustrated, and unsure what they actually accomplished. And it keeps happening over and over. Not because they don't have time, but because they don't use time with structure. If you want more control, more focus, and more results, you have to break your day into clear time blocks that actually work. Not just a to-do list, not vague ideas, real time blocks with real structure. A time block is not a rule that restricts you. It's a tool that frees your mind. It gives your brain one clear assignment at a time. And when your mind has clarity, your focus improves, your energy stays steady, your work gets better. You stop guessing what to do next because you've already decided. That decision frees up mental space and lowers stress. You know what belongs in each part of your day, and you stop feeling scattered. When you don't block your time, the day disappears without warning. You start doing one thing, then you drift into another. You check your email, and suddenly you're watching a video. You start a task but never finish it because something else came up. This isn't because you lack discipline, it's because you never gave your day structure. And when there's no structure, distractions win. You don't need to fill every hour with something intense. Time blocking isn't about being busy every second. It's about assigning purpose to each part of your day. That means setting blocks for work, focus, rest, meals, learning, even silence. You decide ahead of time what goes where. That's how you stop wasting time deciding in the middle of the moment. The key is to be realistic. Don't block 8 hours for deep work if your attention fades after 2. Don't make a schedule that looks good on paper but doesn't match how you live. The best time blocks are the ones you'll actually follow. Start small. Block a morning session for your most important task. Pick one chunk of time in the afternoon for focused problem solving. Block your evenings for rest, not more work. Make the structure fit your rhythm. This structure becomes a system you can depend on. And when you have a system, your brain relaxes. It doesn't need to keep track of everything all the time. It knows there's a time for each task. That calmness is what allows you to think more clearly, make better choices, and get more done with less mental strain. Don't aim for perfection. You won't follow the blocks exactly every single day, but having them is still better than guessing your way through the day. Even a simple plan creates direction, and direction builds momentum. Over time, you'll notice which blocks work and which ones need adjusting. You'll learn how long things actually take. You'll start building habits around your blocks. That's when things start getting easier, not because life changed, but because you got organized. One of the biggest benefits of time blocking is that it protects your attention. When you know what you're supposed to be doing, it's easier to ignore distractions. You stop trying to juggle 5 things at once. You stop giving partial attention to everything. And the more you practice, the more natural it feels to stay focused during each block. You stop checking your phone every few minutes because your mind knows what it's here to do. It also protects your energy. You no longer burn yourself out by reacting to everything. You've built a system that includes breaks, rest, and space. Time blocking is not just about working harder, it's about working smarter and living better. You include space to breathe, to think, to take care of yourself. And because those things have a place, you stop feeling guilty for resting. You've planned for it. You've made room for it. The structure also gives you better control of your emotional state. When you get overwhelmed, you know where to return. You look at your blocks and find your next step. You don't have to panic or overthink. You follow the plan you already created when you were calm. That helps you stay steady. That helps you keep going, even on hard days. It's important to keep your blocks simple. Don't try to do too much in each one. The point is to give your mind clear instructions. If the block is for writing, then write. If the block is for replying to messages, do that. Don't mix 5 things into 1 hour and hope it all gets done. You'll only end up frustrated. Give yourself one target per block. Complete it or make real progress. Then move on to the next. And if something unexpected happens, don't throw away the whole day. Adjust your blocks. Shift things around. The power of time blocking is that it gives you a framework, but it's flexible. You stay in control, even when life gets messy. You stay on track because you're working within a system that you built, and when you build your own structure, it feels right. You're not following someone else's rules. You're living your own design. One of the most powerful things about time blocking is that it helps you respect your time. When you treat your time with respect, others start to respect it too. You stop saying yes to everything. You stop overcommitting. You start checking your calendar before giving away your hours. That one habit changes everything. You no longer feel like your time belongs to everyone else. You've claimed it. You also start feeling more satisfied. Even if you don't finish everything, you know where your energy went. You know what you gave your time to. You don't end the day feeling confused about where it all went. You see the structure. You see the effort. You feel proud of the discipline. It's not about being perfect. It's about being intentional. It's about living by design instead of drifting through the day. You don't have to be extreme. You just have to be consistent. The longer you stick with time blocking, the more natural it becomes. It turns into a rhythm, and that rhythm becomes the foundation for stronger focus, better habits, and real progress. Start with one block, just one. Pick the most important part of your day and assign it a task. Do it again the next day, then build from there. Before you know it, your days will feel different. You'll feel more in control, more focused, more balanced. Not because life slowed down, but because you took charge of your time. Time is the most valuable thing you have. Don't leave it unguarded. Don't let it slip away without direction. Block it, use it, own it. That's how you stay sharp. That's how you stay focused. That's how you build a life that works. Chapter 8. Protect your peace by setting stronger mental boundaries. There comes a time in your life when you realize that not everything deserves access to your mind. Not every voice deserves a response. Not every situation requires your emotional investment. You can be kind without being available to everything and everyone. You can care deeply and still protect your mental space. If you want focus, clarity, and calm, you need boundaries, not just physical ones, but mental ones. Strong mental boundaries are what protect your peace, your energy, your goals, and your ability to stay grounded in a loud, demanding world. Most people are overwhelmed, not because life is too hard, but because they've never learned to say no. They don't protect their thoughts. They don't filter what they allow in. They take every call, answer every message, say yes to every request, and hold on to things that should have been released long ago. And when you do that, when you let everything in without pause, you lose control. Your mind becomes a battlefield. Your emotions get pushed in every direction. You feel tired, drained, and disconnected from what really matters. Mental boundaries are not about being cold or distant. They are about being clear. Clear about what deserves your attention. Clear about what gets to stay in your space. Clear about what helps you grow and what holds you back. When you don't set boundaries, other people and outside problems start deciding how your day goes. They shape your mood, they hijack your focus, and they weaken your inner peace. And if you don't take that space back, it only gets worse. You have to start being selective. You cannot protect your peace if you allow everything to reach you. Every opinion, every negative comment, every toxic interaction. These things may be common, but they are not required. You have the right to step away. You have the right to turn your attention inward and ask, is this worth my energy? That one question can change your day. It begins with self-respect. You teach people how to treat your mind by how you treat it. If you constantly allow interruptions, if you stay connected to people who disrespect your boundaries, if you keep giving mental space to what drains you, then you're telling yourself that your peace doesn't matter. But it does. It matters more than any temporary approval. It matters more than staying connected to the wrong people. It matters more than trying to please everyone. Because when your peace is gone, everything else starts to fall apart. Protecting your peace means you stop explaining yourself to people who don't understand you. You stop trying to convince others to see your worth. You stop revisiting conversations that lead nowhere. You stop holding on to relationships that bring confusion, not clarity. You don't need closure to walk away from chaos. You just need a decision. You decide that your mental health, your emotional balance, and your personal growth come first. This doesn't make you selfish. It makes you stable. And stable people are the ones who build meaningful lives. They're not scattered. They're not easily shaken. They don't give their power to every outside event. They don't react to everything they see or hear. Instead, they choose what gets their attention. They choose what gets their energy. And that discipline protects their progress. Think about how much time and mental space you've spent on things that never helped you, arguments that led nowhere, regrets you couldn't change, worry about what someone might think. All of it weighs on you. It clutters your mind. It steals your focus. And for what? Most of those things don't shape your future. They just delay it. Strong mental boundaries stop that cycle. They help you say, "That's not mine to carry." And that kind of clarity brings real freedom. You also need boundaries with yourself. Your inner dialogue shapes your entire experience. If you let negative thoughts run unchecked, if you replay worst-case scenarios all day, if you feed fear more than you feed strength, you're tearing down your own peace. Set limits on how long you let your mind spiral. Set limits on self-doubt. Remind yourself that not every thought is true, and not every worry deserves attention. You have to talk to yourself with strength, with truth, with purpose. A powerful way to reinforce your boundaries is to create space for yourself daily, not once a week, daily. A few minutes where you check in with your mind, where you breathe, think, reflect, and reconnect with what matters. That space becomes your anchor. When everything around you is moving fast, that space keeps you steady. When people try to pull you into drama or chaos, that space helps you step back instead of stepping in. And when someone crosses your boundary, you don't have to argue or defend it. Just reinforce it. Speak clearly. Stand firm. If something doesn't feel right, trust that feeling. Your peace is your responsibility. Don't hand it over to anyone who treats it carelessly. Some people won't understand your boundaries. That's okay. They don't need to. The ones who respect your growth will respect your limits. The ones who don't can find the exit. Make it clear to yourself what's acceptable and what's not. Make it clear what kind of energy you allow around you. Make it clear which thoughts build you and which ones break you. Write it down if you need to. Post it where you can see it, and return to it anytime you feel off track. Boundaries are not just made once. They're lived daily. They're practiced in your words, your habits, your decisions, and your attention. The stronger your boundaries, the quieter your life becomes. Not in a boring way, but in a powerful way. You start hearing your own voice again. You start seeing your life without all the extra noise. You start moving with intention instead of impulse. And in that space, your focus improves. Your goals feel more possible. You stop wasting energy trying to manage everything and start using that energy to build something real. Protecting your peace is not a one-time act. It's a lifestyle. It's a daily decision to put your mental clarity first. It's saying no without guilt. It's walking away without bitterness. It's creating a space inside yourself that's not shaken by what's outside of you. And that strength doesn't come from being perfect. It comes from being honest about what you need to stay balanced. Start with one boundary, one area where your peace keeps getting disturbed. Maybe it's how often you check your phone. Maybe it's a certain person's opinion. Maybe it's the way you talk to yourself when things get hard. Whatever it is, name it, set a clear line, and hold it. Watch how your energy changes when you do. Watch how your mind becomes sharper. Watch how your focus becomes stronger. That's not magic. That's the power of protecting your peace. You're not here to carry the weight of everything. You're not here to respond to every voice, every demand, every emotion that shows up. You're here to live with clarity, with strength, with purpose, and that starts with setting stronger mental boundaries. Give your peace the protection it deserves, and you'll finally have the space to become everything you were meant to be. Chapter 9. Challenge your brain daily with deep thinking tasks. Most people let their brain get lazy, not because they want to, but because they're constantly surrounded by easy choices, fast entertainment, surface-level conversations, endless scrolling, instant answers. Everything around us is built to keep our mind passive, and if you don't challenge your brain on purpose, it starts to shrink its ability to think clearly, to reason deeply, to focus for more than a few minutes. That's not just a small problem. It affects every part of your life, how you make decisions, how you solve problems, how strong your confidence is. If you want to sharpen your mind and improve your focus, you have to give your brain a workout every single day. And that workout starts with deep thinking tasks. Deep thinking is not about memorizing facts or repeating what you heard someone else say. It's about taking time to explore what you think, how you feel, and why something matters. It's asking harder questions. It's writing out ideas, reflecting on a topic, analyzing situations, and choosing to think longer and stronger than you're used to. It's going beyond quick answers and digging into something with full attention. Most people avoid this because it's uncomfortable. It takes more mental energy. It feels slower. But that's exactly why it works. The brain is a muscle. It grows through challenge. And just like your body weakens when you never push it, your mind dulls when you stop thinking for yourself. If your mind is never tested, it becomes soft. If you never stretch it, you stop growing. You lose your edge. You become reactive instead of reflective. But the moment you bring real thinking back into your day, your mind starts to strengthen again. You don't need hours. Start with 10 or 15 minutes a day. Sit quietly with a notebook and ask yourself something real. What am I not seeing clearly? What's the real reason I'm stuck in this habit? What belief is holding me back right now? Don't rush your answer. Sit with the discomfort of not knowing right away. Let your thoughts go deeper than the surface. Push through that early mental resistance. That's the place where growth begins. You can also challenge your brain with hard questions about your goals, your relationships, your fears, not to judge yourself, but to see yourself more clearly. The more honest you are, the stronger your thinking becomes. Weak thinking avoids hard questions. Strong thinking embraces them. And you don't need to share your thoughts with anyone. This isn't about impressing others. It's about understanding your own mind. When you think deeply, you begin to lead yourself better. Reading challenging books is another powerful way to train your brain. Not just content that confirms what you already believe, but material that makes you pause, question and reflect. Books that are well thought out. Writing that demands focus. Give your brain something to wrestle with. Highlight important points. Take notes. Ask questions while you read. Don't just move your eyes across the page. Engage with the ideas. That active engagement is where the real development happens. You can also use problems to sharpen your thinking. Pick one issue you're dealing with and explore different solutions. Don't just take the first idea that comes to mind. Think in layers. Break it down. Ask what you're missing. Look at the long-term impact. Deep thinking is not fast. It's deliberate. But that deliberate effort helps you become a more stable and confident person. Avoiding deep thinking is easy, but it costs you clarity. It costs you maturity. It keeps you stuck in shallow thinking patterns that don't lead to strong results. It makes your mind feel restless. You start jumping from one thought to another, never fully understanding anything. That's why it's important to slow down on purpose, to carve out time each day where your mind works harder than usual. That habit done consistently builds a sharper brain. You'll start noticing the benefits quickly. Your decisions get cleaner. You stop second-guessing yourself all the time. You begin to understand people better. You gain patience because you've trained yourself to slow down and think things through. Your focus deepens because you're no longer addicted to surface-level stimulation. You're teaching your brain to stay with one topic longer, and the longer it stays, the clearer things become. Deep thinking also helps you take back control from distractions. Every time you choose to sit and think instead of reaching for your phone, you're building discipline. You're sending a message to your mind that thinking matters, that silence has value, that not every moment needs to be filled with noise. Over time, that message becomes a belief, and that belief becomes a lifestyle. A lifestyle where your brain is active, focused, and sharp. One of the most powerful ways to develop deep thinking is through writing. When you write your thoughts down, you force your brain to organize them. You can't fake clarity when you're writing. If your thinking is messy, the words will show it. But that's okay. Writing gives you a mirror. It shows you where your thinking is weak, and then it gives you the space to improve it. You don't have to be a writer. Just be honest. Let your thoughts come out, then go back and refine them. That process is a workout for your mind. You also grow faster when you discuss ideas with people who think differently than you. Don't argue. Just listen. Ask good questions. Try to understand why they think the way they do. That's not just good communication. That's training your brain to stay calm, to explore new perspectives, and to stay focused in challenging conversations. These are powerful habits that very few people develop, But if you do, you'll start noticing how much stronger you feel mentally. The point is not to feel smart. The point is to become clear. Clear thinking gives you the advantage in your work, in your relationships, in your future. When you train your brain daily with deep thinking tasks, you separate yourself from the crowd. You start to see things others miss. You start making moves others are afraid to make because you've already thought them through. No one can do this work for you. It has to come from you. You don't need special tools. You just need the willingness to slow down and go deeper. Make it part of your daily routine. A few minutes in the morning, quiet time before bed, a walk without music, where you just reflect. Find your rhythm. Build your own system. The key is to do it daily. Repetition is what builds the strength. Just like physical training, it's not one big workout that changes you. It's what you do every day. The world will always try to pull your attention outward. It will always offer you something easier, faster and louder. But growth doesn't happen out there. It happens inside, in the quiet moments where you challenge your mind to think better, to stay longer, to go deeper. That's the work. That's the edge. And once you start, you won't want to go back to passive thinking. You'll begin to enjoy the feeling of clarity, the confidence that comes from understanding yourself, the strength that comes from training your brain daily. And that strength doesn't fade. It multiplies, one deep thought at a time. Chapter 10. Build focus by doing hard things without giving up. Focus isn't something you wake up with one day. It's not something that just shows up when you need it. It's built, and it's built in moments when you could quit but don't. It's built when you decide to do the hard thing anyway, even when you feel tired, even when it's uncomfortable, even when the results aren't immediate. That decision over and over again is what trains your brain to focus. Not because the task is easy, but because you stayed with it. You gave it your full effort. You didn't walk away when it got frustrating. You kept going. That's where real focus is born. Doing hard things without giving up isn't about punishment or pressure. It's about building trust with yourself. Every time you finish something you didn't feel like doing, your brain remembers. It stores that win. It starts to believe that you're the kind of person who follows through. And that belief starts to shape everything. You become more grounded. You stop looking for shortcuts. You stop needing motivation every 5 minutes. You just do the work. And over time, your ability to focus gets stronger because your actions have trained your mind to stay steady. This world is full of people who start things. It's full of big goals and good intentions. But what's rare is the person who keeps going when the excitement fades. That's the person who becomes unstoppable. Not because they're better, but because they've built a habit of facing the challenge head-on and not backing down. That consistency builds mental toughness, and mental toughness builds deeper focus. When your mind knows that quitting is not an option, it stops wasting energy looking for a way out. It gets quiet. It gets clear. It gets to work. You don't need everything to be perfect. You don't need the ideal setup or a surge of motivation. You just need to start the hard thing and stick with it a little longer than you want to. Stay with the discomfort long enough to let it grow you. That's where the edge is, not in doing what's easy, but in doing what's difficult with full attention. Think about the last time you gave up on something. Not because you weren't capable, but because it got tough. Your mind drifted. You lost interest. You got distracted. That moment is not failure. That moment is feedback. It's showing you exactly where your focus breaks. And that's where you train. You go back into that space and try again. You rebuild your ability to stay locked in when your instincts want to escape. Focus gets tested when the results are slow, when the reward isn't instant, when you're not being praised, when it's just you, your effort, and the silence. That's where you find out what you're really made of, and that's where your strength grows. You stop needing everything to feel good, and you start doing it because you've made a decision to follow through, a decision to finish, a decision to get better. You can't build focus without friction. You need the pressure. You need the resistance. Just like muscles need weight to grow, your brain needs challenge to stay sharp. Avoiding hard things might keep you comfortable, but it makes you mentally soft, and you'll feel it. You'll struggle to finish tasks. You'll get overwhelmed by small setbacks. You'll lose belief in your own discipline, not because you're weak, but because you've trained your mind to quit too early. It's not too late to change that. Every time you push through a tough task, you're rewriting the story. You're teaching your brain that you can stay with something longer than your feelings. You're showing yourself that discomfort is not danger, that boredom is not a reason to stop, that hard work is not the enemy, it's the path. And every step forward, especially the hard ones, make you more focused, more resilient, and more confident in your own power. Start with one thing, one hard thing you usually avoid. Pick it up, set a timer, go deep on it without checking your phone, without switching tasks, without looking for a way out. Even if you only do it for 10 minutes, do it fully. Give it your full energy. Finish something, no matter how small. Then do it again tomorrow. That's how you train. That's how you build discipline that doesn't crack under pressure. You don't need talent for this. You need grit. You need patience. You need to be willing to get uncomfortable on purpose, because that space, the one most people run from, is where all your growth lives. When you stay with something hard and give it your full attention, you're creating a gap between you and everyone who quits when it's no longer fun. That gap is where your focus sharpens. Over time, hard things don't feel as heavy. Your mind becomes used to the effort. You begin to welcome the challenge, not because it's easy now, but because you know it's shaping you into someone stronger. That strength builds momentum. That momentum becomes identity. You stop saying, "I can't focus," and start becoming someone who's known for follow-through. Discipline is a decision repeated every day. You don't find it, you build it. And the way to build it is by doing what most people avoid. Do the work that makes you sweat. Think through the problem that seems too complex. Sit with the project that frustrates you. Face the tasks that require you to stretch. Don't walk away. Get quiet. Breathe. And keep going. Every minute you stay in that effort makes you better. Every second you resist the urge to quit strengthens your focus muscle. And when you do this daily, when you live this way, something changes. You no longer chase results. You become the kind of person who earns them. You no longer need to force yourself to work. You just work because it's who you are now. And that shift is powerful. It creates calm. It creates confidence. It gives you peace because you no longer need perfect conditions. You show up and do the hard thing without giving up. This is how you separate yourself. This is how you lead yourself. This is how you build a mind that can handle pressure, delay, challenge, and still stay focused on the goal. You won't win because you avoided hard things. You'll win because you walked straight into them and stayed until they made you better. And it starts right now, not tomorrow, not when you feel ready, right now. Pick the hard thing you've been avoiding. Focus on it with everything you've got. Don't look for the finish line. Look for the next step. Take it, then take the next. Build that focus by living in the effort, not just once, but every day. That's how you grow, that's how you win, and that's how you become someone who doesn't just talk about change, but lives it fully.